In the previous video, we have seen some key points on Java interfaces. So this is completed. In this video, we will see some interview questions on Java interfaces. The first question is, define an interface in Java. Let's say we have an interface here which is interface, I'll say demo interface. And in the interface I can have some variables, let's say int a is equal to 10 and another variable int b is equal to 20, and I have few methods, public void test1 and another one is public void test2. These variables are by default public, static and final. These methods are by default abstract, public and abstract. So what is an interface? Interface is a collection of abstract methods and constants. So here if you see, this is a collection of abstract methods. So these are by default public and abstract. So these are a collection of variables and abstract methods. Using interface, we can achieve 100% abstraction because the methods that we have in interface are all abstract methods. That means they don't have any body. And interfaces are by default abstract. Even though we don't use the keyword abstract here, they are by default abstract because all the methods that we define within an interface, they are abstract, and an interface is used to achieve 100% abstraction. Next one is, what is the purpose of an interface? So this is an interface, and if you see this interface, we will see that it just contains some variables and some methods. Even these methods doesn't have any implementation also. We can create a class that implements this interface and we can provide implementation for these methods. But what is the real use of an interface here? An interface is like a contract. It is like a contract. In interface, it acts like a communication between two objects. When we are defining an interface, we are defining a contract what our class should do but not how it does. That means we are telling the class, we will tell the class that okay, you have to do this, you have to have this method and you have to have this method, and how you do it is up to you. How the class does is, it is up to the class. So we use interfaces as a contract and it tells the classes of what they have to do but not how they have to do. For example, in Selenium we have an interface called WebDriver. This interface defines all the methods that any browser has to do. So this interface is implemented by Chrome browser and this is implemented by Firefox browser and this is implemented by Internet Explorer. So these are all the classes that implemented this WebDriver, and this WebDriver contains methods like get method, which we use to open a browser, and we also have like many other methods like driver.findElement. So these are all like some of the methods. So this WebDriver defines all these methods. Okay, you need to have these methods in your class files. So this Chrome browser, when it implements this WebDriver interface, it has defined all these methods and the implementation is done in a way that it is suitable for Chrome browser. Similarly, the Firefox browser, when it implemented the WebDriver, it has implemented all these methods in such a way that is suitable for Firefox browser. Similarly, Internet Explorer driver also. So a web driver is like a contract which is used for communication between different objects, and it tells you like what the classes have to do. In this case, this web driver tells this Chrome browser, Firefox browser, Internet Explorer browser classes that okay, you need to have a get method which is used to open a web page. For example, I want to open Google homepage. Okay, so get method is used to open that Google homepage, but the same method will be implemented in a different way in the Chrome browser class, and it is implemented in a different way in a Firefox browser class, and it is implemented in a different way in a Internet Explorer browser class. Similarly, finding the elements, we have different methods for finding the elements like text boxes, buttons on the web pages, and this WebDriver interface tells all these classes that okay, you need to have these methods, find element methods, to find the elements on a web page. And Chrome browser has implemented these find elements methods in its own way, which are suitable for Chrome browser, and in Firefox browser implemented these methods in its own way that is suitable for Firefox browser, and similarly Internet Explorer browser. So an interface is like a contract. It tells the classes what they have to do, but not how they have to do. The implementation is all up to the classes. So that is the purpose of an interface. Explain the features of interfaces in Java. So the features of interfaces in Java. Let's say we have an interface here and we have a class. And when we are implementing this interface using this class, we have to implement all these methods in the interface, otherwise it throws an error. So the first point is the class has to implement all the methods in the interface. Second point is all the methods in the interface are public, whether they are declared as public or not. So we have two methods here, test1 and test2. They are by default public. So even if you don't mention public here, they are public by default. And now when it comes to the variables, the variables are public, static and final by default. Fourth point is interfaces cannot be instantiated. That means we cannot create an object for the interfaces. The reason is an interface looks like a class, but it is not a class. So we cannot create an object for the interface. We cannot declare these methods as static, because when we say static means it belongs to a class. First of all, interface is not a class at all. That's why we cannot declare the methods in an interface as static. And the next point is when we want to implement any interface, we will use the keyword implements. So for working with interfaces, we have to use the keyword implements. So these are some of the features of the interfaces. The next question is class C implements interface 1 containing methods M1 and M2 declarations. Class C has provided implementation for method M2. Can I create an object of class C? Okay, I have an interface here. Okay, this is my interface, and this interface contains methods M1 and M2, and we have a class here which is implementing this interface, and this class has provided an implementation for one of these methods. Let's say M1 method is implemented in the class. So the question is, can we create an object for this class? The answer is no, because when we are implementing an interface, the class should implement all the methods in the interface. So it has to provide an implementation for M2 also, then only we can create an object for this class. So the answer is no, not plausible. Class C should provide implementation for all the methods in the interface. Since class C didn't provide implementation for M1 method, it has to be declared as abstract. Abstract classes can't be instantiated. Can a method inside an interface be declared as final? Let's say I have an interface here which has two methods, and the question is, can I declare the methods as final? The answer is no, you cannot declare this as final, because if you declare this as final, you cannot implement this method in the child class. which is this class. So you cannot declare this method as final. No, not possible. Doing so will result in compilation error. Public and abstract are the only applicable modifiers for method declaration in an interface. Can an interface implement another interface? So we have already seen this in the previous examples. If we have two interfaces, which is interface 1 and interface 2, in order to get the functionality from interface 1 like methods or variables into interface 2, we have to extend this one. Extends, we have to use extends, but not implements. Only implements is used only with classes. If we want to implement these interfaces, then we will use implements keyword. So this one you have to remember. Between interfaces it is extends keyword, and from a class to interface this is implements keyword. So can an interface implement another interface? Interfaces don't provide implementation, hence an interface cannot implement another interface. Interface extends another interface. Can an interface extend another interface? So we have just seen it. So yes, an interface will extend another interface. Can a class extend more than one class? So this extend concept, it comes in the inheritance concept, so which we will see it in the future videos. So for now just remember that when somebody asks you, can a class extend more than one class? No, it is not possible, because multiple inheritance is not possible in Java. Next question is, why is an interface be able to extend more than one interface but class can't extend more than one class? So again you need to understand the inheritance concept here for this one. So basically Java doesn't allow multiple inheritance. That's why we cannot extend more than one class in Java. So a class is restricted to extend only one class. But an interface is a pure abstraction model and doesn't have any inheritance hierarchy like classes. So an interface is allowed to extend more than one interface. Can an interface be final? No, it is not possible. Let's say I have an interface here, and if I declare this as final, if it is allowed that we can declare it as final, we cannot implement these methods. We cannot inherit this interface from this class. That's why we cannot make an interface as final, and it is not allowed by Java to make an interface as final. What modifiers are allowed for methods in an interface? Only public and abstract. These are the only two modifiers are allowed for methods in interface. When can an object reference be cached to an interface reference? This one we have seen it in the previous video. So this is an interface and this is a class. So now if I want to, let's say the name of this class is action and this is implementing this interface, let's say interface 1. Okay, now if I want to create an object for this one, the way I create it is, I will say interface 1, that means the name of the interface, and the object name, let's say act1 equals to, I will use the new keyword, new action. So we normally do it here when a class is extending to an interface. So we will use the interface name here, interface 1, and then we will use the object name equals to, we use the new keyword and the class name here. So this is how we create it. So when do we create? So when can an object reference be cached to an interface reference? When the object implements the referenced interface, then we can cache it to an interface reference. Can we define static methods inside interface? So we have already seen this one. We cannot define static methods inside an interface. The reason is static means something belongs to a class, but interface is not a class, so we cannot define static methods inside an interface. What are the differences between abstract class and interfaces? So the first one is abstract classes cannot provide 100%, may not provide 100% abstraction, but interface provides 100% abstraction because interface methods are all abstract. Interface contains only abstract methods. Abstract class contains abstract methods and concrete methods are both. Access specifiers for methods in interface must be public. except private, we can have any access specifier for methods in abstract class. The variables that we use in an interface, they are by default public, static and final. But in abstract class, except private variables can have any specifiers. Multiple inheritance in Java is implemented using interfaces. So we have already seen some examples here. We can use implements keyword and we can implement any number of interfaces like interface 1, interface 2. Like that we can interface any number of interfaces. So multiple inheritance is achieved using interfaces. We cannot achieve multiple inheritance using abstract classes. To implement an interface we use implements keyword, but for classes we use extends keyword. In this video we have seen some interview questions on Java interfaces. If you want to download this Java interview questions document, you can go to my GitHub repository, which is at github.com/subbostech. Go to selenium-java-tutorials, and this document starts with 14b. So search with 14b and you can find it here. Selenium-java interfaces-interview questions. In the next video, we will see what is inheritance in Java.